Hey traders, welcome to Charts and Coffee. I've got some water today as well. We need charts and water every now and then. Great to see everybody. All right, so let's get to it. Happy Wednesday. Happy day after the testimony from Jerome Powell in front of the Senate Banking Committee Wednesday. We're going to see what kind of mood this market's in. If you've been following along with the analysis that I post over at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel each and every night with the free videos, you know that we've been talking about a choppy market, right? So it's also sort of its official name. It's sort of formal name is distribution, but what the heck does that mean? It means we're stuck in a choppy range for now. And that means we focus on overbought or oversold, which is why we've had an emphasis as of late on the slow stochastic. So, ultimately what we want to remember when we're looking at this market is, in order to find trending opportunities, we're going to have to get, inside or get below the indices and get down to the sector level, get down to the stock level. All right. And if that's a process that sort of, it's relative outperformance scanning is something that's new to you, check out the Friday video. I know Friday and it's Wednesday, but wow, Friday. Yep. Check out the Friday video, which was I believe it was the Which Way Are We Going video over at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel. I think it was Friday. No, you know what? It would have been, hang on, I'll tell you the date, the 7th. So check out the video from the 7th, and that will absolutely clarify it. And that looks to be what's setting up for next week. That was the one. What's setting up for next week. So check that out over at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel. All right, as always, the show is about your questions. So let's go ahead and dive into those this morning, see what the market has planned for us. All right. So first up, good morning. Good morning. Yes. Hey there, Kathy. Kathy asks, I'm wondering how I chose CSX, sure, or an options position. Sure. So CSX was a wild ride. And this is a great reminder that when you are trading stocks and we enter the first 30 minutes of the trading session, one of the things to, bumping my camera here. One of the things to remember is that if my option is pushing the percentage threshold risk, where I would usually, take the paper cut and move on from that particular entry trigger, I won't do that till after 10 a.m. In other words, don't get stopped out of overnight, daily time frame entries during the clearing. After 10 a.m., reassess. After 10 a.m., see if the markets simmer down. See if maybe even we start to put in a range and it starts to reverse. This is not denial. This is really just remembering that the initial 30 minutes of the session are not necessarily indicative of what we're going to see for the morning. So that's number one when it comes to CSX. You can see that heck of a wick we left behind there. CSX was actually something that came up in the conversation within the Sector Secrets Mastery Room. That is my little think tank place where I hang out personally all day long from 9:30 to 4, take a little break for lunch, go out with my husband. Other than that, I'm hanging out with the group over at the Sector Secrets Mastery. And that was something that had come up. And I believe, shout out to Debbie, she said, look, Rog, we've got a relative outperformer in the IYT. What do you think? And I liked it. I liked it a lot. So that's what we went with. It had a rough morning. We weren't surprised because we have Powell coming. We don't call him Powell for anything. And it was an IYT relative outperformer. So thanks for the question, Kathy. All right, next up, Steve. I have your indicators from Countdown Trader. Oh, very cool. So for those of you that are not aware, Countdown Trader is, a number of us here at Simpler have individual blogs or websites, whatever you want to call it. They're still absolutely part of the Simpler Trading family of sites. And this is where And I've got to get, for those of you that I get emails from time to time, hey, Rog, oh my gosh, what a treasure trove you have over at Countdown Trader. I can't even believe that you're just putting this out there. It's not a class or anything. It's true. Trish, who has been my partner here in the office for about a decade now, I guess it's been a long time. She knows my trading inside out. And she knows also what the most common sort of pain points and confusion points and questions typically are. So she curates based on current market behavior and what we're using. She curates a lot of what I do and turns them into amazing, succinct, useful, tactical posts. So definitely we talked about seasonals in the free video, and you can see here in December, said, Rog, people are having questions about seasonals. Let's jump into this. So yeah, thank you for mentioning Countdown. I don't mention it enough. And when you're scrolling over here on the site, it's perfectly free, by the way. Again, you just type in countdowntrader.com and, go crazy. So here you'll see, as I've mentioned for a really long time, we have made a number of indicators absolutely free. All right, so you can grab candles, which comes with the wave. You can grab the propulsion. We've got Darvis there as well. So those 4 indicators that have always been free are available to download at Countdown Trader. We have TradeStation, we have Thinkorswim. And then if you're on TradingView, just search the indicators within TradingView, and those same 4 indicators are built into the platform. You can activate those for free as well. All right, so thanks for mentioning Countdown. Now the question is, what creates the up and down arrows on my price chart? I don't seem to have those. Okay, so I believe the ones you're referring to would be the ones associated with the Darvis. So we have a Darvis 2.0, which is the original Darvis that we've always given away for free. Lorna and I tweaked Darvis because I love certain patterns that occur within a Darvis that sometimes don't have a box associated with them, or sometimes well in advance will lead the box formation because it's part of the pattern. So that's the Darvis 3.0. And whether it's the Darvis 3.0, whether it's just JT multi down in here, I believe we're going to add my slow stow. That stuff's available. Sort of the upgraded ones are available in the bundle, which is a la carte package of my indicators, of a handful of indicators that we think are really going to move the needle for you. And they're all in one package. They're not piecemeal or anything. So that's the Darvis 3.0. Okay. But you can definitely check 2.0 out. And if you say, you know what, Ron, this is really working well, check out the bundle. And it goes on sale from time to time. I would definitely wait for a sale. When there is a sale, we mention it out Countdown. I mentioned it in the charts and coffee. So I hope that helps, Steve. Thanks for the question. All right. Next up, Jalen asks, good morning. Can we please look at DLTR? Is it a buy at this level? So here's DLTR, daily time frame, structure before strategy. Structure is, definitely bullish. Yes, we have one, yellow over yellow neutral day within just a sea of very nice green over green, 8, 13, 21, 34, fully stacked, not half stacked, fully stacked. So this area here, that's sort of half stacked. Bullish sentiment and momentum, neutral trend, right? Fully stacked. JT multi, one is not going to concern me, especially when I've got no red grab candles in sight. This is a absolute dip buy. Yes. So, the zone starts at the top line of the wave, extends down to the bottom line of the wave. The bottom line of the wave further has the Darvis in play. Love that. Notice none of this has to be drawn manually. It's already there on the chart. So I've got really 2 Darvis levels, the previous one and the current one in play. As long as we stay above that, I like that as a buy zone. Definitely a buyable symbol. Yeah. And then what we want to do, and you can see earnings are way off in the distance, is know the proximity to earnings in this environment. So thanks for the question, Jalen. Next up, Tim asked, thoughts on the post-FOMC reports on financial sector over the next week or month, especially with earnings coming up soon. I don't prognosticate. I'm not here to tell you what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's happening now. And that likely that's what's going to be the framework for the market, right, Tim? So XLF is not quite an uptrend. Be careful at these highs. I'd like to see a pullback. KRE just started looking like an uptrend, I want to see two green over green columns, not just one, but I'd like to see two green over green columns. So I'd like to see maybe today also establish that green over green down here at the JT multi. And then as far as the FOMC, look, hawkish central bank policy, which you can see really reflected clearly on the Fed fund futures, that should be good that should be very good. That should be beneficial. That should be bullish to the, here we go, to those particular sectors. So as far as earnings goes, look, I just take earnings one by one, my friend. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what my directional bias is going to be. So, I'll check out the estimized calendar. I'll look at each one of those financial earnings. As you mentioned, yep, they're a coming. Friday is going to be a pretty big day. BlackRock, Citi, JP Morgan, Wells, and then Tuesday, Bank of America, Goldman, PNC. After that, we've got, it just keeps going. Morgan. What I would say is set up each one of those individually. I would do what I call a post earnings setup. I don't want to be in them before earnings. I want to see what the structure is. And does earnings trigger some sort of setup for us? Does it trigger the price that we would like to engage? So I want to use earnings because we're so close at this point. We're inside that 2-week window. I want to use earnings to our advantage. So thanks for the question, Tim. Alex asks about, Bitcoin. Sure. All right. So let's go take a look at Bitcoin. All right. Pulling that up. And the question is support at 40,000. Well, the volume ledge here at Bitcoin is sitting at about, 41.8. Built a position as we chopped around the 200. Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Now, if I've got a longer term outlook, and I don't know what your outlook is, you're pretty much setting up at the same place that I'm setting up. Here it was before. By the way, this is the weekly right there. You can see the weekly time frame. And here we are again. So yeah, I absolutely anticipate, that kind of movement, right? So back to the daily, taking some heat. Yeah, if you look at the weekly, I think the setup is going to make a lot more sense. And there's two levels of support that I'd keep a really close eye on. Thank you, Darvis. Extend that forward. Thank you, Darvis. Extend that forward. Pretty nice, right? Something back in October, something back in, as you can see, there's her signal back in December. And there's that support range right in here. Okay, so that's what I'd be looking at going forward. All right, Alex, thanks for the question. Do I have any thoughts on the CPI number? All right, so what do we have coming up today on the economic calendar? So we had CPI data that came out, about 45 minutes ago, right here, CPI. I'm really not that, I'll look at the previous, I'll look at the consensus, and here's your actual. How far off is the actual from the consensus? Just a little bit better. So this does tell us that inflation continues to heat up. This is going to keep, ever so slightly the screws on the Federal Reserve. Two things you can look at for reaction: Fed fund futures and dollar. I am actually really surprised that the dollar continues to break down. That's a little surprising to me. I still want to be a buyer, but I'm a little surprised the dollar continues to break down. You can see the movement here. So if we're seeing a continuing tightening cycle, the dollar breaks down on a CPI release, this really does tell us the Fed may not have to be in such a hurry. So we want to measure that with the dollar. We want to measure that maybe with a look at the May and March Fed fund futures, and see if anything's changed to the trajectory of potential rate hikes. Still looking like March is in play, but nothing that's telling us that anything's worse. That's the way I would interpret it. And by the way, stonks, we're still looking at a 5-minute chart. They didn't mind that at all, did they? So nothing about this is telling me that the Fed's going to have to speed up. Dollar moves lower, equities move higher. That's actually, hey, inflation isn't heating up that fast. The Fed doesn't have to truncate that time frame. We may not see as many rate hikes this year. We may not see as quick a paced tightening cycle. That seems to be the way in which the market is digesting this. All right, next up, Michael asks, market go up or down? Well, which one, right? I mean, let's get a little specific here. Are we talking NAS, right? So when we talk about specificity in CHOP, it's so important. We're not in an environment where we have the overall risk appetite. We're not in an environment where all three of the major indices, NASDAQ, S&P, are necessarily moving higher. So we need to be really specific in CHOP. It's really important to understand relative outperformance in CHOP. So as far as market, I'm going to separate NAS from S&P from Dow. I'm going to separate the sectors out because there's a number of sectors that are relative outperformers, right? But generally speaking, I'm still looking for higher highs, but not across the board. But I know you're just kidding. Markets up or down, we're just kidding. But you know what? You ask a question I think a lot of people are thinking, even though I know it was in jest. So Michael's got jokes in the morning. I like it. But for swing trades, if a stock enters your buy zone during the open, do I enter a position right away? Yes, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with taking advantage of, great question. I'm fine with, got a good joke and a great question. All right. So I'm fine with taking advantage of that clearing range opportunistically for entries because I may not see that volatility later on, right? But I don't want to get shaken out of a trade during that noise. So use it opportunistically, but I'll be pretty defensive with my stop losses during that time. So again, sort of to recap, gang, let's really be specific to the CHOP. And if we're looking for market direction, let's get specific to sectors and indices. Sorry, sectors and stocks, not the indices. And then, yes, I use the clearing to be opportunistic, Michael. I don't want to get stopped out in that window. So do I have a certain time that I wait for an entry? I really don't. I'm open to entries throughout the day, which is why I love to place, good tactical question. I like to place an alert, a price alert on my platform to let me know I'm in the right area. So thanks for the question. All right. Next up is, let's see. Thoughts on Morgan. Nikolai, let's wait till after earnings. Kind of going back to the earlier question on financials. Let's wait till after earnings and see what we have in the wake of that. And that means that, let's go to Estimize here real quick. That means we're going to wait until after the 19th. And let's see if, right, Morgan's choppy right now, by the way. And so if a market's choppy, that means we want to take a look at, there we go. We want to take a look at potentially, how does this slow still work? I want to see a red to green, a green to red transition. At the top of the range, I want to see a green to red transition. That would be a great indicator confirmation. And then from a price perspective, take a look at the resistance at the Darvis here. Still a yellow market. So let's be careful. However, we're starting to collide with resistance and growing organization to the upside, trying to turn into a trend. Because remember, part of the XLF narrative and XLF is going to be benefited by the hawkish environment. Now, a 25 basis point or quarter point hike is not enough, really. XLF is going to continue to benefit if the tightening cycle continues to intensify. If not, be careful because XLF has run up quite a bit in anticipation of a tightening cycle. Okay. All right. Warwick asks, I can't get the Forex calendar. I think I answered your question in a recent question you posted in the video, Warwick. Yeah. So if Forex Factory is for whatever, I'd never heard of that, but if Forex Factory is blocked where you are in the world, Warwick, check out tradingeconomics.com. That's a really good one. right? But I've never heard of Forex Factory being not accessible. Maybe try a different browser or try private. That might help. Okay. So hopefully that will, or trading economics. That's a good one too. It's not my favorite, but there's a lot of good information over at tradingeconomics.com. I think it's trading economics. I think it's plural. Yeah. And there's a good one there too. See if that one works for you, but see if maybe a private window doesn't fix that problem for you. Yeah, for Forex Factory. All right. Okay, gang. And just like that, I am out of time as always. Thanks for all your questions. I do appreciate them. Thanks for joining us to caffeinate and dominate each morning. Great to see you all. I'll see you all in the Sector Secrets Mastery. We have our weekly live trading. We're going to review our current open positions, of which we have quite a few long. We're actually just straight up long in this market. And we'll see what kind of day trades arrive this morning after the bell. All right, gang, be good to each other. I'll see you tomorrow.